A reading from the first book of Kings. At the Mount of God, Horeb, Elijah came to a cave where he took shelter. But the word of the Lord came to him, "Go outside and stand on the mountain before the Lord. The Lord will be passing by." A strong and heavy wind was rending the mountains and crushing rocks before the Lord. But the Lord was not in the wind. After the wind there was an earthquake, but the Lord was not in the earthquake. After the earthquake there was a fire, but the Lord was not in the fire. After the fire there was a tiny, whispering sound. When he heard this, Elijah hid his face in his cloak and went and stood at the entrance of the cave. A voice came to him, "Elijah, why are you here?" He replied, "I have been most zealous for the Lord, the God of hosts, but the children of Israel have forsaken your covenant, torn down your altars, and put your prophets to the sword. I alone am left, and they seek to take my life." The Lord said to him, "Go, take the road back to the desert near Damascus. When you arrive, you shall anoint Hazael as king of Aram. Then you shall anoint Jehu, son of Nimshi, as king of Israel, and Elisha, son of Shaphat of Bel-Meholah, as prophet to succeed you." The word of the Lord. I long to see your face, O Lord. Hear, O Lord, the sound of my call. Have pity on me and answer me. Of you my heart speaks, you my glance seeks. Your presence, O Lord, I seek. Hide not your face from me. Do not in anger repel your servant. You are my helper. Cast me not off. I believe that I shall see the bounty of the Lord in the land of the living. Wait for the Lord with courage. Be stout-hearted and wait for the Lord.
Shine like lights on the world as you hold on to the word of life. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to St. Matthew. Jesus said to his disciples, "You have heard that it was said, 'You shall not commit adultery.' But I say to you, everyone who looks at a woman with lust has already committed adultery with her in his heart. If your right eye causes you to sin, tear it out and throw it away. It is better for you to lose one of your members than to move your whole body thrown into Gehenna. And if your right hand causes you to sin, cut it off and throw it away. It is better for you to lose one of your members than to have your whole body go into Gehenna. It was also said, 'Whoever divorces his wife must give her a bill of divorce.' But I say to you, whoever divorces his wife, unless the marriage is unlawful, causes her to commit adultery. And whoever marries a divorced woman commits adultery." The Gospel of the Lord. Good morning. First of all, I think the very good reminder, first of all, with our gospel today is we should not translate this literally. It's not literal to cut off our arms or something to our eyes. And it's related to in the past days, the readings that we had about the laws. The intention of God is for us to go into deeper understanding about following the laws, observances of the laws, so that we may understand more about our obedience. It's not just fulfilling the law, but because we love to be in communion with God. Our obedience, following the law, is because of this relationship that we have to God. And when we relate this to come to confession, it's not just coming to confession for our sins or because we have committed some sins, but confession will become the source of our conversion. And conversion is not just like we have this faith, we believe in God, but conversion is we live life according to the love of God. Our gospel today gives us some issues, especially about family or the couple, the married people. And it says especially about adultery and divorce. But it's not just about the act of adultery, but it says even the desires in your heart, especially with other people, with other person. And it tells us it's a sin, it's adultery already. Because God likes us to become pure, to become sincere, and to trust in the love of the Lord that we have. Like Pope Francis has given us the encyclical about family, Amores Laetitia. It's the joy of the love at home. And even in his first encyclical, Laudato Si, it tells us that this world is our home and we have to love it. We have to give our love to our nature too. It's telling us the wider sense we are home, not just in our houses, but even our community, even outside, because it's the sanctuary of the Lord. When I was a seminarian, I heard this, I think when I was on my first year, right when I entered the seminary. We were told, where does your vocation come from? And we were told that family is the root of vocation. And they said, when people would like to see a good priest, and then the formator said, well, send us a good person, send us a good young male. When you want to have a good priest in your parish, send us a good boy, send us a better son. Don't send us like a minimal son. But it's right. When we want to have a good leader, when we want to have a good engineer, when we want to have a good teacher for our kids, we will nurture, we will take care of our kids in their early years. And it's true that family is a source of vocation, it's the seed of vocation, and it's the source of this vocation. And it's the same thing in our first reading today. Elijah was looking for God, and he didn't find God in some other disturbances, but in the silence. And we are reminded with the words of Pope John Paul II, the family that prays together stays together. And it's the importance of prayer in the family. And it's true that the family is not just like directed here, but directed to become closer to God.